Welcome. This is Annuity News Now. The Employee Benefit Research Institute has released its 2011 Retirement Confidence Survey. A better title might be the 2011 Lack of Retirement Confidence Survey. My guest is the Research Director for EBRI, Jack Vanderhei. Jack, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Well, Jack, what this survey shows is that many people appear to be totally unprepared for retirement. In fact, the vast majority of people haven't nearly saved enough.
Well, that's correct. We've been doing this for 21 years now, and this was without a doubt the worst year ever in terms of confidence. We measure both workers and retirees, but this year we found that 27% of workers were not at all confident that they're on track for a comfortable retirement, and that's actually 5 percentage points worse than last year, even though we had the 2010 market rebound.
And what are the factors that contribute to this sort of outcome?
Well, hopefully we have a silver lining, because the one thing you could use to characterize just about every year we did before this year was a huge amount of false optimism. We had people who were very confident that they were on track, who had absolutely no reason to be. They had no defined benefit plans. They were already in their 30s or 40s, had virtually nothing saved, and yet somehow magically thought they were going to be prepared by the time they hit retirement age. This year, when we drilled down into the details, we found it was those who literally did not have any chance of being on track given where they were, who were starting to adjust their confidence downward. So hopefully if there's two phases, first you have to realize you're not on track, and then secondly you start acting on it. We've seen the first phase this year, and probably that's because of all the financial press as far as what happened in 2008 and 2009 in the financial markets and housing markets. Hopefully by next year we'll see them starting to react by increasing their retirement savings.
So part of this is that you're saying that people have actually just become more realistic about things.
Oh, without a doubt. And we have tested that on several different categories, but especially those people who have very little saved, we found in some cases a tripling of the percentage of those who are not at all confident.
There's a huge number of people who plan to work into retirement. Is this something that has changed dramatically? Are these people that have always sort of intended to at least work part-time in retirement?
Well, there's two things going on. First, those who think they're going to be working part-time in retirement has definitely increased. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is each year you look at this, the people who are planning to work in retirement is much higher, the percentage, than those who have already retired and are working at that time. I think probably more fundamental is the huge shift we've had in the percentage of workers who think they're going to have to work past 65. It's more than tripled since we started this back in 1991. And again, that may be feasible for some people, but again, the huge caveat here is that every year we ask the retirees whether they were able to retire when they wanted to, and 40% of them each year state that they were forced to retire earlier than they wanted, either because of their health situation, their spouse's health situation, or because they have been outsourced out of their job.
Mm-hmm. And one of the other highlights in the study is, or should I say low light, there are many people here who are somewhat close to retirement who have actually nothing saved. Is that surprising to you?
Well, it's not surprising any longer, unfortunately, because we have done this for so many years and keep finding the same results. What it really comes down to is you can sort of bifurcate the population of workers into those lucky enough to be working for employers who sponsored qualified retirement plans and those who don't. And those that are in that second category oftentimes have either not the education or the financial incentives or whatever have you to start saving on their own, but we find that that's primarily the population most at risk.
And there are many people who have children who are going into college. Colleges get an astronomical in expense. Many people appear to be dipping into their 401ks, for example, just to cover college expenses.
Well, one of the first times we've asked that question is whether or not you are dipping into retirement savings was this year, and we found a very large percentage, almost one-third of the workers said they were. Again, when we drilled down, though, we found something very surprising, and it was people who had 401k or qualified defined contribution plans who were less likely to dip in. So, again, this is a survey, so we can't go back and interview these people again, but I would tend to think what's going on is you've got a lot of people who are just saving more or less on an ad hoc basis. They don't have the kind of formality of a 401k plan, and they more or less just use it as a checking account.
Finally here, do you think that people, many people have complained that their benefit plans, their pension plans are very hard to understand. Is this a byproduct of this sort of environment, getting people to maybe make an attempt to at least understand what they've got going on a little bit better?
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, there are many, many fine websites out there that will, with just a couple of minutes of preparation, give you useful feedback as to whether or not you're on track. It's my hope that people will start investigating somewhat more scientifically whether they're on track. We still find, believe it or not, 42% of workers say they just guess as far as how much they're going to need. So hopefully that's something that'll be resolved soon.
All right, Jack. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
He is Jack Vanderhei. He is the Research Director for the Employee Benefit Research Institute. I'm Scott Drake, and you're watching Annuity News Now.